Hello and welcome to a very special community special. Now today I've got with me an old friend of ours, Mike Nimmey.
Hello,
Mike.
young Eric, how are you doing?
Welcome to have you here again. Now we're on to a very special weekend.
Yes, we are. We are indeed.
I think it's called
Heritage Open Days.
Now tell us something about it, because this is something I think that Felixstowe has never had before.
No, it's a system that's been running, or a project, an event that's been running throughout Europe for several years.
Yes.
And I understand it's around 50 European countries. In fact, I didn't even know we had 50 European countries. But apparently that's the number who take part in this particular event.
This is an annual thing, is it?
Yes.
I
yes.
see.
And it's normally the second weekend in September.
I see, yes.
So it's there's a fixed point in the calendar year, and it's the understanding of it is that things that would normally be charged for entry are free.
Yes.
Or things that are free would open up something you would normally not see.
Yes.
Or, for instance, something that you'd have no access to at all will be open.
Yeah. This is for things which are normally, part of our heritage.
Absolutely. I mean, it's called Heritage Open Days, but there is no bar to it. It's cultural, it's musical. Equally, it appreciates high-quality new build.
I see.
As an example of what we should perhaps be encouraged to be providing. So, in this particular weekend, you might see item 10. I don't know whether we've got item 10 on the blocks, but
Before you say anything else, people should try and pick up this leaflet, presumably.
Yes.
Because this leaflet shows everything for both days.
Indeed it does.
Now, this is for Felixstowe. It's Felixstowe's first time.
Indeed it is.
And I understand you have actually organised it.
No, three of us have organised
Three of
it,
us,
really.
yes.
Philip Hadwin, who is our local historian
Yes.
and Vice President of the Felixstowe Society.
Yes.
And I seems to reach a view that, simultaneously virtually, that it's about time Felixstowe got engaged in its heritage. My big driver was what you see on the front cover, which is a drawing of a Martello Tower.
Yes, now we've had 8 Martello Towers, I think, haven't we? How
Yes.
many have we got left?
4.5.
And how many of these are you going to be able to see this weekend?
Well, you can see the only one that's in public ownership
Yes.
is the southernmost one,
Yes.
which is Martello P,
Yes.
which is off Langer Road,
Yes.
through Coast Guard Lane, and on Saturday and Sunday the access to Martello Tower P will be off Langer Road. The current developer that's there will be rejigging the fencing so that there is through access.
And people will be able to go and see.
Yes, you'll be able to
that'd
visit
be
Martello
grand.
Tower. And the third member of our sort of planning group, Robert Scrivener, who is the officer at Woodbridge responsible for the historic environment as a planning officer,
Yes.
he will be doing conducted tours of Martello P.
Oh, that's very good.
In addition to that, at the same venue,
Yes.
on the roof we have an organisation called Coast Watch.
Yes.
And they are a voluntary organisation, if you like, took over local duties from Coast Guard.
Yes.
And they perform a very valuable function of keeping an eye on swimmers who might be in difficulty,
Yes.
sailors,
Yes.
any problems, breaking down,
Yes.
running out of petrol, whatever. They keep a continuous monitor on our coast and our bathing waters through the summer.
Yes.
And at weekends.
And they're on the roof of the Martello.
Indeed they are. They are looking, as a result of the restriction in their view of Harwich Harbour, to hopefully gain access perhaps for the pier, if that's ever built, the new pier, to be on the front of that, which would bring them back the sort of, the 200-degree vision you need to be able to do the job that they're looking to do.
But keeping to the Martello
Yes.
Towers, this, I suppose, is our most important heritage building in Felixstowe.
No, our most important heritage building is Walton Castle, which is a Roman castle that was built here in AD 360.
Gosh.
And that's why Walton is called Walton, and that's why this whole area really should be called Walton. Felixstowe is a Johnny-come-lately, late Victorian Edwardian makeover with the railway. But our the thing that determined the structure of our peninsula was the Roman castle.
Now, is there anything left there?
Yes, a couple of bits of wall.
Yes.
At the lowest tide of the year.
Oh, I see.
And you can go into the dip and you can actually see that part of it that's left. But you've got to have a fair bit of imagination to envisage what this coast looked like 1,800 years ago.
So really I was right in the first place when I said the Martello Towers are existing.
No, I think what you'd find out, the people at Landguard Fort would say, no, we're the most important.
Oh, they would.
Because there have been 5 different forts at Landguard,
yes.
and the one you have now is again a Victorian makeover.
Oh, I see.
So the one
that predates the Martello Towers.
Oh, yes.
So basically, the Landguard Fort will be open over the weekend.
I'm not sure. I think they are charging.
Are they? So they're not really taking part in it.
Oh, well, I got a problem with that.
Have you? Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Anyway, coming back.
But some parts of it are free. You'll have to look at Landguard Fort on the website. I mean.
But it's well worth a visit.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of history and incorporated, not incorporated, but a part of the same site. You also have the Felixstowe Museum, which is packed with local knowledge. Well worth seeing.
Well worth. So we hope they'll go there as well, even though it's not part of your heritage.
Well, our thoughts were these: if you were a family with a couple of 3 kids, and even if the entry fee is small, to try to get around 4 or 5 venues and you'll be charged for all of them, you just couldn't do it. You couldn't do it today. So the intent and what the national line is: free to explore.
I see. Yes.
And we're putting the emphasis on free.
Free. Yes.
And we're helping them to explore.
Yes. I'd like to talk a little bit about Martello Towers, because I'm fascinated by them. They started off obviously with Napoleon, wasn't it?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the beginning.
Okay, well what happened, it was 1780s, 90s.
Yes.
A British squadron off Corsica wanted to control the bay.
Yes.
And it was Martello Point, had a particular structure, a gun tower.
Now you say Martello Point.
In Corsica.
In Corsica, so
this is where they came from.
This is how they got their name.
And it became Martella because of the Jack Tar. That's what they
so
called them.
it all came from Corsica.
Indeed, it did.
Well, I didn't know that, so I learned something.
So what the superb bit about its design militarily was that what you have is a very strong gun platform on a tower about 33, 34 foot high.
Yes.
Your entry point into that tower is at the first story. And you get into it by ladder.
Oh, I see.
So once you're inside it and pull the ladder in, they can't get at you.
Oh, I see, yes.
And you sit up there, and what they did, they caused serious damage to a frigate. They held 3 ships off for, I think, 3 days.
Yes.
A couple of guys and some cannons, which was quite a remarkable achievement. Yeah. And a number of the military personnel on those ships remembered how effective that was when it came to the reverse process of Napoleon invading England. So they took that design and it's modified. The Irish ones are different to the South Coast ones, and the East Anglian ones are, if you like, the most substantive and largest of those that are built in the UK. Yes,
because we have... How many left now in Felixstowe?
7. Well, in Felixstowe we've got 4.5.
4.5, yes.
But in the whole of East Anglia, that's Essex to Aldeburgh in Suffolk, we've got 17.
17?
Well, 17 and a half, because there's a hidden gem that supports the Bartlett Convalescent Home.
Of course.
And underneath there, what the architect did was to take off the sleeping accommodation in the gun platform, kept the magazine and the moat walls, and floated that whole building on the Martello as its foundation.
Oh, I see.
Unique design, absolutely superb. But sadly, we have no access onto that site.
I see. So what date were all of these built in Felixstowe?
Well, they were built between 1808 and 1812.
So it was after the Trafalgar then, basically?
Oh, yes. Yes, it was. But by that time, we were pretty friendless in Europe, weren't we? Because Napoleon had occupied, and those he occupied were hardly likely to be our allies against him. So there was a blockade all the way through the Baltic, and here's a pretty unknown fact, really, and it was in 1812 that America decided to declare war on Britain.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Which is what it did. So the special relationship then obviously wasn't very special.
But how far apart were they placed?
Well, it depends. I mean, what you've got on the south coast is they're much closer together.
I see. Yes.
And the intent is, if you're here and it's the front of the Martello, that's got a gun on it that would have a range of about a mile to sea.
Yes.
So the intent, anybody coming at you, you would hopefully destroy at sea.
I see. Yes.
If they got past you, what you had left and right on the gun platform, linking to the other Martello towers, was a cannonade type cannon.
I see.
And you created a killing field between the two adjacent Martellos.
Oh, I see.
Which really, why it was so important that we actually keep a contact between the Martellos, so you can see one from another to another.
I see.
So you can experience what it meant. And sadly, because of the ones that we have lost that contact to a degree, and the development at the Martello that's currently going on, in 4 years' time you won't be able to see how it interrelated to either Landguard Fort or the other tower. Where you will be able to see relevant distance is Tower U at the ferry and the golf club
of
tower.
Course, yes. I think
so you can see that. That's assuming they don't build houses all over the golf club.
Now tell me, how are people going to be able to get to the Martello Tower?
Well, what we thought about, and we thought about this long and hard, one of the problems our town experiences is linkage of the seafront to the town, ferry to ferry. So we've been very fortunate. We've been gifted, if you like, a classic coach from the Ipswich Transport Museum.
This is for the weekend?
No, this is for the Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
Specifically to work with Trimley Station.
I see.
Because Trimley Station will be open only on the Saturday.
Oh, I see.
So that will be Trimley Station, Phaedos, St Mary's, linking into Great Eastern Square.
Yes.
And what we'll have there is we've hired the open top bus.
Yes.
Which will transport and connect the ferries.
Oh, I see.
So it will be governed by the arrival time of the Harwich ferry.
Yes.
So it will go to the ferry, wait for it to come in, pick up, and then it will start its journey through the venues to Bordsea ferry or Felixstowe ferry.
Yes.
And then it will carry on doing that all day. So once you've got parked up somewhere, get to a venue, pick up the bus and move around. And if the family, somebody wants to see something else, then you can split and come back later.
And the bus is free, I understand.
Oh, this is free to explore. The only person you've got to pay is on Sunday.
Yes.
When you've always got to pay the ferryman, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
And what we've got, the Bordsea radar, the transmitter block at Bordsea, they will be open on the Sunday for free, but you'll need to pay the ferryman to get your cost. And I think the return fare there is about $2.40, $2.60.
Something like that. But people don't need to go across if they don't want to.
Oh, no. I mean, I went a couple of weeks ago to Bordsea, and it was very, very popular.
Oh, it's very interesting. It's well worth a ferry trip. Of course.
I mean, this is a thing that perhaps we can do a later programme on.
Yes.
If we look at how effective the Martellos were, because you and I continue to speak English, don't we?
Yes.
Had they not been effective, you and I would be in some sort of French or whatever, wouldn't we?
Yes.
So, if you like, that was the first completely concentrated defensive chain for all of southern and eastern England.
Yes.
And if you sort of track forward a little bit and look what happened in Second World War particularly, you had the development of radar at Bordsea, which gave you the eyes to see the enemy.
Yes.
But what was more significant, or equally significant, down at RAF Felixstowe, they developed the planes that won the Snyder Trophy, which was the fastest speed. I'm afraid RAF Felixstowe is under concrete.
Yes, but where was that? That's where the docks are at the present
time. Well, the docks expanded in on top of it, so they levelled it this year.
Is that control tower that you can see on the way to the docks?
That's for sure.
That was part of it,
No.
It wasn't?
No.
What was that?
I'm on the way to the docks. You could well be talking about the Custom House, because that's all glass and looks like a control.
Is it? Oh,
it's a brand new build. It'd be nice, actually, that'd be nice on the Heritage Open Day, because it is a new build.
I see, yes.
But the the Snyder Trophy developed the Rolls-Royce engine, which was available to power the Spitfire and the Hurricane, which enabled not only the eyes that Bawdsey gave you to use, gave you the means of using them most effectively with an engine. So in this little peninsula,
it's got a lot of history behind it.
A huge amount of military. And sadly there isn't very much of it now. Now, the Roman castle, Walton Castle, I've been asking around, and I had an invite this morning to do a little bit on BBC Radio Suffolk.
Yes.
And I asked the interviewer, where is Walton Castle?
And he didn't know, I bet.
Well, he assumed it was in Walton.
I see, there you
Which
are.
is fair enough, isn't it? It's actually under the sea, or the bits of it that remain.
Because a lot of people talk about a Roman castle which was off Cobble's Point.
No.
It wasn't?
No.
There's ruins out there.
Oh, there's Cobble's Point itself as a ruin, as a defensive system. It didn't work.
Didn't it?
No, so they're remaking
But if you go down...
Yes, there are... I mean, Cobble's Point is quite near to where Tower S was.
Oh, I see.
And that was lost to the sea, but not all of it, because a lot of the bricks, and take on board today, East Anglian Tower is 750,000 bricks.
Really, gosh, that's incredible.
750,000.
Yes.
100 wimpy homes.
But how thick were they, the walls?
Well, the front is about 9 foot.
9 foot, good.
And you're not going to go through that. No. Though later in 1890 odd, they developed the rifle gun, which could, which is why it then ceased to be a defensive mechanism. But what I was going to say is that particular tower, the bricks from it were used in the Bath Hotel.
Oh, really? Yes.
And it's also used at the Church of Peter and Paul.
I see.
If you go and look at it, half of it is the golden bricks, that type of brick.
Yes.
So I think Suffolk folk aren't daft enough to let a whole tower disappear into the sea. No. So there was a deal of salvage on the two towers, because Tower O, which was just northeast of Landguard, that disappeared also in about 1830.
But coming back to the Heritage Weekend, what do you recommend somebody with a family, what do you recommend them to do? What are they going to be able to see on the Saturday and on the Sunday?
Well, on the Saturday you've got, and Mike I think has got a number of slides here. So there are a number of churches. There's St Andrew's Church, which is a very delicate church made in reinforced ferro-concrete.
Really?
And
now this is the one that all the castellated top.
Yes.
That's the one, yes.
Now the architect for that, or one of them, was actually a student of the architect who designed the Bartlett.
I see.
And when you look at some of the bits, you can see the symmetry between them.
That's right, yes.
Then we've got, running on the church line, we've got St. Peter and St. Paul, which is staffed, and they will be doing tours there. But it states it was rebuilt in 1873, and this was from the Martello Tower bricks.
I see. But can people go round, if they get on the bus, how frequently do the buses go?
Well, the bus will be doing a sort of an hourly round trip.
Hourly round trip.
Pretty much.
So basically, if they spend an hour in each site...
Yeah, but a lot of these are walkable.
Are they?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. I mean, what we're endeavouring to do is try to... Our town consists of being a peninsula between two rivers.
Yes.
Well, you wouldn't know that from the way we sell it, would you?
No.
So what we're pressing is ferry to ferry.
I see,
to tie those communities into our peninsula, basically.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing. So St. John's Church is the church that on Friday night Phil Hagwin is doing a talk on Felixstowe gems.
Yes.
And that will be opening this event. I think the Lord Mayor will sort of inaugurate it.
So really they ought to get there to have...
Yes, if they can, certainly. And that will be kicking off, I think, around 7.
7 o'clock, yes.
Then there's St Edmund's Church, which is down in Langer Road, on the way to the Martello. Yes. That's a daughter church of St John's. And there will be people there... plus a leaflet to describe it. It's a relatively small church, but nevertheless something of interest. And then 5 is St Mary's Church, which is really the mother church of Walton, because it's St Mary's Walton.
Oh, I see.
It's mentioned in the Domesday Book.
Really?
But I was looking at it today with others, and take on board you had a Roman castle.
Yes.
And that was garrisoned until about 460.
Yes.
And Christianity was already becoming a part of Roman life.
Oh, it was, yes.
It's highly probable that that church was a very early Roman British church.
Yes, yes.
We would need a lot more study, but that is our oldest church, and it's got an awful lot to it. There will be tower tours. They're taking people up the tower, providing I think they're over 12 and can breathe.
I see.
Something like that. Yeah. So they're doing that, and then we've got the United Reformed Church, which is a modern one, 1900, very very pretty little church. And that runs on the same sort of basis of tours. And then we move into media land, basically, and performance. And Phaedos House, which is owned by the Felixstowe Amateur Dramatic Group. They really major on youth and children. Yes. My daughter attended that when she was, a teenager. Had a great time. And they used to be able to do quite a lot of shows in and around the spa and elsewhere. So what we need is some performance space for them. Phaedos House has had quite a makeover, but they would be very welcoming of folks who may want to explore what they've done. And it's reputed that Sir John Mills, when he was here, and his father was station master, living at the end of this road in which this studio is, he did tread the boards here.
Really? Isn't that interesting?
Well, we should really have a performance space, shouldn't we, in Great Eastern Square, devoted to Sir John Mills and his works. And perhaps Felixstowe Radio might look to...
That's a very good thought.
I think so, don't you? Yes. And then we move on to Martello P, which is open both days.
Yes. Now, what are the starting and the ending times?
Well, most things go from sort of 10 till 4, but you'll need the programme to see specifically why. Yes. And if you want to access this via the internet, and seeing as you're watching this on the internet, we must assume they've got access.
Absolutely, yes.
Then you can go on to www.martellotower.org.uk, which is a website we've just established to support this particular weekend.
Oh, I see.
So that's got this guide on it, a lot of our information, and for those of a hungry disposition, we've also loaded the menu of the cafe at Felixstowe Ferry. For people who might be worried if they got that far they would have nothing to eat.
Well, they get it there.
They will get it.
There's also a very good fishmonger down there.
Oh, it's very good. Fresh fish.
Open on Saturday.
And then 8 and 9 are combined together because Coast Watch, they are doing tours of their facility and taking you through things. So it's a double-hander on that particular site. 10 is Cotman House, which is at Garfield Road. This is a redevelopment retired home that was... Cotman was a very famous painter, but his nephew was an architect who lived in here and did an awful lot of very good work. And there is a walk devoted to that. Then you've got the court, which is 15-minute tours, 6 at a time, during the course of Saturday and Sunday. And then something you know nothing about, Site 12 is Felixstowe Television at 91 Gainsborough Road.
Now, this is very important.
Now, this is a rarity, isn't it?
If I can tell people about this, if they come into the studio, we'll be open.
So this is here.
This is here, and they can send messages.
We've got a poster up, look.
Yes, there you are. They can send messages all over the world. Or to their Aunt Sue in Felixstowe, Uncle Sam in Scotland, or their friends in Australia. And they can send messages to them. They'll be recorded.
So we could have a heritage message.
A heritage message. That's absolutely it.
That'd be good.
And so
equally, I take it they could see the mechanics in working. So if they had an interest in media, either performing or producing or delivering, then they could see how it really works.
Absolutely.
Oh, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
And I'm hoping, a lot of people will take advantage of it, because when we've done something like this in the past, we've had messages all over the world, and people have loved it.
Right. I'm very sorry I won't be able to because I am flat out all day.
I see. What are you doing yourself?
Well, I'm doing the classic bus run, and I'm picking up. We've arranged it so the classic bus will meet the first train in at Trimley.
Yes.
At 9:18.
Yes.
They will have time to have a look at what is proposed for Trimley Station.
Yes.
And then we'll take them on a tour of the venues and our town.
Yes.
We will then, they can then either go back to Trimley or drop off at Great Eastern Square or drop off at one of the ferries or one of the venues.
Yes.
And then I, for my sins, am leading a walk, the Martello Trail Walk, which kicks off from the viewing platform down at the ferry.
So in other words,
Harwich Ferry.
If people go down to the Harwich Ferry at what time?
11 o'clock.
Yes, 11
we
o'clock.
We do a 3-hour walk.
Oh goodness, I don't know. I couldn't manage a 3-hour walk.
Which is quite levelish.
Is it? Yes.
And what we will be doing is tracking where the Martello Towers were and how they functioned and what's happened to them, and general history that I may know or not. And normally these things take care of themselves, don't they? The folk in the walk probably know. It's a bit like teaching. They know more than you do.
So basically, 11 o'clock. Down
at the viewing platform by the Crow's Nest again.
Yes.
A source of sustenance for those who are desperately in need of food.
It's good food.
And it's good. Yes. And it's lovely bacon butter.
Chips too.
Oh, I don't know about chips.
Oh,
but
yes,
the bacon butter.
The chips are lovely. But anyway, so if they get there for 11 o'clock.
Yes.
At least they'll be able to go with you.
Yes.
And you'll be able to take them. So presumably, if they don't want to go all the way with you,
they can drop off, peel off anywhere.
They can get on the bus. Presumably, you'll be
and
carry on. With
or go into another venue. I mean, do the first bit and whatever. Yes. I mean, I wouldn't really like to get all the way to the ferry alone, but if it be so, it be so.
I'm sure it won't be. I'm sure you'll have a crowd.
So then, item 13 is something that you know very little about as well. This is a thing called Felixstowe Radio.
Oh, yes.
And this is actually housed in Great Eastern Square.
That's right.
Which is actually a part of a listed building.
Yes.
Which is the railway station.
Absolutely.
And I understand it's actually located in what was the booking office. Yes. What a wonderful use.
It's wonderful.
So to think that John Mills's dad used to supervise people there, taking pennies and sixpences to go on wonderful journeys on steam railways.
Now the radio
still doing.
The radio station will also be open.
Oh, good!
So people can go in and see what it's like.
Right.
And I'm hoping that they'll be able to send a message out as well from there.
Right. So they're doing sort of interviews like, why have you come to Felixstowe? What are you looking to see?
But
is there any possibility of any outside broadcast happening during?
Well, this I don't know. You'll have to speak to the station about it. But I know they're laying on something.
Good.
And they're very enthusiastic about it.
Yes, I've heard it I've actually heard them.
We've been talking.
I mean, Bob Meadows and I did a bit with him a couple of days ago, and that was very good.
Yes.
And
I'm sure you're going to get a tremendous amount of support. But I think the problem is people knowing where to go to tie into it.
It is, and on these internet users, if they go to that website, they can download the guide themselves, and it will tell them up to the minute, because there have been a few changes at St Mary's Church on the basis there's a wedding.
Where can they pick up these leaflets?
They can. Now we're very fortunate. The library has been foursquare behind us, very supportive. We've done another display in there yesterday, and they will have the guides, and they will act as a contact point.
Oh, that's good. So the library.
But in addition to them, the tourist office will be open on both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, good.
And if you want to telephone to get any information, then you can call in on 01394 276 770. I'll say that again for the hard of hearing.
Yes.
The code for Felixstowe 276 770, and that will take you through to the Tourist Information Centre, and you will have some very well briefed folk there who can help you get to whatever event or tell you what's happening. So they have been very supportive. In fact, Claire Baker has been a part of the planning group, the four of us that have been doing this for the last 8 months or so, and she has done a sterling job. So what you've got also, Eric, is Trimley Station, which we mentioned, where we've got a series of walks. I mean, people coming here should come expecting to be very, very fit. The Martello Trail is the longest of them.
Yes.
And probably the more pertinent to the front cover.
Yes.
You know, because it is the Martello weekend, really. But there's the Copman Trail, which is the architect. There's the Tomlin Trail, which is Colonel Tomlin, our rather eccentric entrepreneur
yes.
who kicked it off. You've got the Cobbold's Trail, that particular family.
Yeah.
You've got Abbey Grove, which is up by the Grove, which was our Millennium Wood, and how successful that's been.
Yeah.
They're conducted tours. And you've also got a very nice walk around Felixstowe Ferry,
yes.
which is packed full of history. Yes. And that's all on the Saturday.
Yes.
We kick off, as I said, with Gems of Felixstowe by Phil Hadron at St John's on the Friday. And on the Saturday evening at the Sailing Club, there is a talk on Felixstowe's piers and sea defences.
Oh, that should be interesting.
Now that, they are doing a fish and chip supper, so there is a charge for that.
Do you know what
of
the charge is? $8.50 for a fish and chip supper.
Yeah, not bad. And that kicks off at 6:30 for 7:30. So that's the Saturday programme.
Because the emphasis on Sunday is rather different from the emphasis on Saturday.
Yes, it is actually. I mean, we're very much on the prom.
Yes.
On Sundays.
Yes.
Sadly, the classic coach is needed by Ipswich Transport because they're doing their own open day.
Yes.
So that won't be available to us, unfortunately. But the open top double decker will be running.
Yes.
The church is all run, but Phaedos House is only a Saturday event, as is Felixstowe Television and Felixstowe Radio. These amateur don't have the staying power, do they?
Oh, they haven't.
You know, get out there and until your fingers run.
We'll be watching you.
But what is open, as well as or instead of, is Felixstowe Town Hall is open for guided tours. You can go and visit the cells.
How often do the guided tours?
Well, they're doing 30 minutes at noon in one, so there's only two tours.
Only two tours?
Two tours at 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock.
I see. So
but equally what's going on in the town hall is a display of the Spa Gardens as they will be once this 2.2 million lottery heritage grant has been spent on its renewal.
Yes. So
and there's also a walk on the seafront garden showing you what will be done with them.
Basically the town hall 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock, or they can go and see a display at any other time,
of the Spa Gardens.
10 and 4.
Well, the Spa Gardens is from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
The Spa Gardens?
Yes, the actual display of what's going to happen there. Yes. But there's a conducted walk as well, for those who are feeling fit.
Yes.
And what they've also done, very kindly, is, I don't know whether you're aware, but this Sunday is Bandstand weekend.
I didn't know anything about
on Sunday,
weekend.
And it's 4 hours of playing apparently.
Really,
Felixstowe will be the perhaps only resort in the United Kingdom, if not the world, that will have bands but no bandstand.
Really? Oh, right.
So what they're playing, we've got, I understand, there's a brass band will be running from noon until 2, and then a brass quartet will play from 2:30 until 3:45. And they're sort of in the gardens, the next sort of lawn down from where the hut is. I mean, head towards the music.
Yes,
is what and it's beyond the Spa.
Yes, so Sunday it's to go down to the prom, listen for the music, go to the town hall,
and off you go.
And what exactly is going to be on the prom?
Nothing.
Nothing.
People walking, basically.
Just people walking.
But you'll have the town hall. You'll have the garden display, but equally what you will have is the Spa Pavilion, or Much at Risk Theatre, will itself be open, and they will be doing conducted backstage tours and whatever. Fun. So that will be very interesting. And anybody who wants to get into theatre,
what time will they be at the
Well, they're running at 10, 11:30, 2 and 3:15, and it's about an hour tour around the working parts, conducted by Roger Miller, the technical manager at the Spa. So if you want to get in, I mean, you can go and learn how to do it at Phaedos on the Saturday, and then go and see how to produce it on the Sunday at the Spa. Or equally, if you're a theatrical entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur of any sort who feel that they could make a theatre work, a restaurant work, a coffee bar, a performance space, an ice cream parlour. If you feel you can make all those work as one, come and look at the Spa and perhaps make a bid so that we keep this very valuable resource in our community.
And what time will the Spa be open? From 11 to 3?
From 10 through until 3:15.
Good. So
that should be a good day. The walks are the same but additionally you've got the seafront garden. And finally, to conclude, we have the golf club is doing Felixstowe Golfing Heritage.
Oh, really?
A talk at 4. This talks about various bodies, sort of our Prime Minister Balfour spent more time here playing golf than he did running the country. Well, and in those days we had quite a lot more to run, so perhaps that's a message to us all. Perhaps politicians should do less better rather than more badly. But let's not get political here, Eric. Now finally, and this is another bit of activity, on Sunday and Sunday only there are a number of displays. There's at the golf club there's a local golfing history display, and that will run into the talk. Equally, we've got the restoration of the seafront gardens and the town hall, and then at the hut, a very, very well-loved facility on our seafront, I'm doing the history of Felixstowe Martello Towers.
And what time is that?
Well, that's sadly from 10 a.m. to 4.
Is it? So you'll be
long day.
So there's a lot of places to go.
Hell of a lot.
And I think the problem is there's going to be too much.
Yeah.
So the only way
Let's cancel some.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. So
but you need to plan your Saturday, your
Sunday. They've got to plan it. They've got to really get.
Yeah, I mean, go on to, as I said, www.martellotower.org.uk, and you know I'm an analogue man, so for me to say that is quite an unusual thing to do.
But they can get these from the library
and tourist information. And they are. We've distributed them around town in various places.
Lots of people have
and hopefully that we will have enough left to have in the venues, so they can pick up. But
and the buses, free buses running on Sunday as well, but not the classic coach.
Correct. So basically Sunday is ferry to ferry link, Saturday is Trimley to Hub and ferry to ferry.
Now can people just put their hands out and stop these coaches?
Oh yeah.
They can do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, at a bus stop.
Only at a bus stop.
Because we were having concerns about so as I speak, Claire hopefully is arranging, I mean when we looked at it, the stops that the open top currently uses are pretty well towards where our venues are, so it won't be very far for anybody to walk.
But basically, if they go to a bus stop and they see it coming, they hold their hand up.
What we forgot was this, didn't we? Look,
there we are.
Look. I mean, this bunting we would hope to be able to put on both buses, so you're aware that it is a heritage trip bus, and we take it from there. We are actually still in need of volunteers. If somebody would like to see what's been happening, say at the Olympics and Paralympics, where volunteers have actually lifted that whole thing by, being the game makers, we would love to have some additional heritage makers.
So who do they get in touch with?
They could get in touch on the tourist information number that we gave.
They get in touch with you, presumably.
Or they could give Philip Hadwin a buzz, and if we have a quick look at the the fish and chips supper, I believe there's a telephone number.
What time was the fish and chips supper?
Well, if you want a good fresh bit, get there early.
I know, but what time?
Let me quickly look. Please note there will be a charge of $8.50 to include cost of a fish and chips supper. Booking is essential, as tickets are limited, and you will need to call the Felixstowe code 01394 286 008.
I see.
So you would need to book that one, but that's
the sailing club.
That's the only.
That's the sailing club.
That's absolutely right, and that should be good.
But it sounds as though it's going to be a wonderful weekend.
Well, the weather is going to be glorious.
It's going to be glorious. The forecast is excellent.
Yeah. So if you only want to come to Felixstowe and sit and look at the sea and listen to the music, be welcome. Come and enjoy. And I mean, if you've got no interest in history, but your better half has, or the kids have. Yes. In fact, really, I think this is targeted at the children, because I am somewhat appalled that so few of our residents are aware that this whole settlement on this peninsula really took root with the Roman castle. And,
absolutely.
And a lot of people would be very hard put to tell you where it might be.
Well, there are not many places in England which are virtually completely surrounded by water, and you know what that means, don't you? What does it mean?
Well, it means you've got a lot of seaweed, I would say.
It means that you don't get witches. and evil spirits. That's why Felix is such a happy place.
That's a gem, Eric. I'd not heard that before. Well, I can promote that on the bus.
Oh, you must.
I would say, according to the law of Eric states.
Absolutely. Well, I'm afraid we've run out of time.
Have we really? And well, that's been. It seemed not a minute.
That's good. So thank you very much for watching. You know now what you can see. You've got a wonderful week ahead of you. Please go and take advantage of everything that Mike has done. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.